We're going to talk about our first pets and why we love them.
And we have a special guest. This is Finn. He is my current pet, but not my first.
Hi, I'm Ashley Blom.
And I'm James Fite.
And together we are BlomFite.
A comedy duo team.
From Austin, Texas.
And this is our banter.
So my first pet was a bunny rabbit named Casey. And to this day, I don't know if it was a K and a C or C-A-S-E-Y. However, I lived in like little apartments for most of growing up because we did not have a lot of money, and we never were allowed to have dogs or cats, even though I really, really wanted one. But we were allowed to have like rodents. And what is the most adorable rodent? It's a bunny rabbit.
Of course.
So my parents got him for me for one of my birthdays, I think. And he was awesome. We litter box trained him. So he was a rabbit.
Damn.
Yeah, he was a rabbit that would go into the litter box like a cat.
Wow. That's a smart bunny.
Yup. And he also liked to hump all of my stuffed animals and also people's feet. We would just let him run around the apartment. Like, he basically was a cat. He was a bunny rabbit that was a cat. And I think he lived for, I feel like rabbits live to be around like 5 years old or something. And he got pretty close to that. But I guess my dad always said he died in his arms.
Aww.
I was so sad. That was my first kind of brush with death and what it meant.
Yeah.
I was very upset. And then I had another bunny, and his name was Smokey, and both of them were lop-eared rabbits. So Casey was white and brown and had a very high sex drive, and Smokey was gray. And those were my pets growing up until I got older and we lived in places that could have more.
My first pet, he was Hetfield.
Hetfield?
Hetfield.
Hetfield.
Like the Metallica lead singer, James Hetfield.
Oh.
And we found him when I was in first grade. He was just kind of roaming our backyard, just hanging out. And then my mom would just give him milk and food, so he would continually just like show up. My dad didn't want him initially because we had a rule, because I lived in a duplex and we rented off the other side, and he said to the tenants there, like, you can't have pets. And for the longest time he's like, we can't have pets because that'll be contradictory and it's a double standard. And eventually my mom wore him down because I was getting attached to Hetfield. And so he was just like, fine, whatever. And later we got 2 more cats, so we had a total of 3 cats. Anyway,
Cats are cool.
Cats are pretty dope. So I remember naming him because I wanted to name him Garfield because that's the only cat I knew, and my mom wanted to name him Hetfield. So we set him down and did the classic like, come here,
pick your name.
Yeah, pick your name thing. And well, he went to my mom, so we call him Hetfield, and his middle name was Pikachu because my mom was still is obsessed with Pikachu.
Your mom is?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's her favorite Pokemon. My dad's favorite Pokemon is Geodude, just because he's just a rock. That's his reason why he's just like, he's a rock. And that was our second cat's middle name, is Ted Geodude.
Ted Geodude.
Ted Geodude. Anyway, so we got Hetfield in first grade, and then we put him down because he was just really sick and old in like 2012. So it was from 99 to 2012 we had Hetfield. And it was very traumatic because I might cry a little bit. I held him as they put it into him. Yeah, that wasn't fun.
No. I haven't had to do that for a pet yet, and like, I know it'll happen, but so Gracie was my first cat. And it was after my parents separated, and my mom moved us into a duplex that did allow pets. And we got a lot of pets. It was probably too many pets for this space, but I was in heaven because I was so happy to finally have a cat, and eventually another cat, and eventually a dog, and eventually another dog. But Gracie was the coolest cat. She was a tabby. She was gray with black stripes and white paws, so a little bit like Finn here. And she was just awesome. We got her when she was like 6 months old, and you would pick her up and she would actually crawl up onto your shoulders and just
Nice.
kind of lounge. She was so awesome. And then, so I got her when I was about 11. And then it was the day I graduated high school. Like, she had been kind of sick, and we were trying to figure out what was wrong with her, and we took her to the cat hospital, and they're like, oh, it's her diet, or no, she's allergic to something, and they just weren't giving us any answers, and we take her to another vet, and they immediately are like, she has an enormous tumor in her digestive tract.
Aww.
And it was like a matter of time. And so my mom and I were just crying and crying. Neither of us could like bring ourselves to take her to be put down, but we knew we had to. And then it was my high school graduation day, and my mom let her outside, and she was not an outdoor cat, but she would just sit on the porch, and she'd never go any further than the porch. So like she'd get let outside ever so often, and so she wandered away.
Aww.
So it was like she made the decision for us so that we didn't have to do that.
I've heard that pets do that, is they go off and just die so they don't have to make their owners sad. I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
myth or if that's real.
No, cats
But-
do that, and I think dogs do too. Like they want to be alone, and
Yeah.
they go when they're alone. So I have 2 cats and a dog right now, and I love the crap out of all of them, and just like thinking of in the future when I have to do that, like, oh my god, pets are magical. Make sure you appreciate them. Give them
Yeah.
all the love, because they're these like tiny little creatures that you decide to share your life with, and they just give you so much love back, and they have no idea what's going on.
So in the comments below, tell us about your first pet and how you got them, and if they're still alive or not. Yeah, tell us about it.
If you have any sort of like weird first pets, like I had a rabbit because I couldn't have cats and dogs, and I love bunnies. I will never eat rabbit because
Yeah, that's
smoky.
fair.
Casey. Yeah, so if your first pet was like a lizard or something, let us know.
Hey, goodbye.
Bye.